everyone, and welcome to We Found a Book, the monthly show on your pods that we cast to. We're not a podcast. We're our own thing, where we talk and we'll read you
You're choking.
fairy tale types.
You're choking.
Stories.
I'm going to stop you there and take over from now. As Austin was saying, we are our own entity. Not a podcast, but a show we read...
A show.
Austin, yes. A show where we read our stories that we found in a book in our grandpa Jeremy's attic.
Attic, yeah.
I think Austin wants to take the show over again.
That was good, Ben. Thanks. It is January. Guess what? Second month in a row we suck. It's January 29th. January 30th. I haven't slept. I didn't sleep last night. So it's still the 29th, right? If you don't go to bed.
Yeah, no, totally.
Like if I never go to bed, I never have to edit this episode and put it up. I don't know why I'd say it like that because it's a joy. It really is. I'm not just saying that. But yeah, it's 10:28 on the 30th, which is a Saturday, that we are recording right now. So down to the wire.
We're getting there.
This is the procrastination. Did you get that one?
The procrastination station.
Welcome to the No, I already made a thing. Like, welcome to the procrastination.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Population, everybody. Because everybody's a procrastinator.
Honestly, though, I feel like people lie straight up when they're like, "Oh, I had my project done a week ago." It's like, no, you didn't.
I used to lie. I used to lie like that in middle school.
Yeah.
People would be like, "Did you finish your project?" I'm like, "Yeah." But in really,
I hadn't even started it yet.
Yeah, in reality, I didn't do it till like the hour the night before. I remember my mom used to help me on projects.
So did mine.
Like, she'd be like, "When's this due?" And I'm like, "Tomorrow." Like, I'd start on it. I need to stop saying like. I would start on it at 5, let's say. And she'd be like, "When is this due?" And I'd tell her, "Oh, it's due tomorrow." And then we'd be up until, say, 2 a.m.
Yeah. No, my mom used to do the same
super
thing.
Pissed at me.
Well, with my mom, like what it was, we used to have like 5th, 6th grade rolled around. They started requiring us to actually have typed paper instead of like handwritten ones, which is what I was most accustomed to. And I never actually did any kind of like serious typing before then. So like I was just mainly handwritten. Like I started freaking out because it used to take me like an hour to write a single paragraph on the keyboard. I was just bad at it. So my mom, hush.
Boo.
My mom lent her services because she was a lawyer. She was always behind a computer for the most part. And she's like, "Yeah, I'll just write it for you. Just tell me like what you want to say, and I'll write it for you." And it was always the same thing where like I would start it like a week in advance.
So your mom did your homework, Ben?
Yeah, my mom did my homework.
I don't think you earned a high school diploma.
No, I didn't. It was all my mom. But anyway.
No, when did she help you? This is serious. What years of your school?
So anyway, what I used to do...
No, Ben. What years?
Don't make me do this, Austin.
Middle school?
It was last week that she helped me write my first paper for my intro to environmental design class.
So not only should you have not graduated from college, your mom should have 2 high school degrees, diplomas, and part of another college education.
Well, does it help that we took my diploma and crossed out my name and wrote Pam on it and
Yes.
gave it to her as a Christmas gift?
That's a bad Christmas gift. Something she earned. That would be like if somebody gave you your tax returns for Christmas.
That's basically what she does to me, actually.
Oh yeah, your mom steals your tax returns.
My mom steals my tax returns because she knows how to do them when I don't, and I want to do it.
He didn't even know they were being done for like the first half of his working life.
No, I didn't. I was working at a clothing store, and she's like, "Oh no, let me take care of these for you." I was like, "Oh, thanks, Mom." And she was like, "Oh yeah," and she pocketed the $200 or $300 that I was getting like every year.
Like, we don't have to do taxes.
Yeah, I didn't know. But anyway,
That was her fee.
You know what I used to do? The biggest thing I used to do, which got me in a lot of trouble, when I was a kid is I would come home from school with like a crap ton of homework, like an agenda's worth of homework, and I just wouldn't do it until I felt like doing it, which would be never. So like what I would do is I would just spend the entire day doing whatever the heck I wanted to do, like play video games, watch TV.
You can say hell, I think.
Yeah, okay, whatever the hell I wanted to do, and watch TV, play video games, just do anything I wanted to find ways to procrastinate. And I would leave these huge assignments in like 5th through 8th grade until I felt like doing them, which would be at like, I would set an alarm for like 2 o'clock in the morning. I would wake up and do it in my bed. So I would be doing like book reports and like handwritten papers and assignments all like in bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I would I once got caught by my sister because she was walking down the hallway to go to the bathroom. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just reading a book." She's like, "No, you're doing homework. Why didn't you do this before?" And I was like, "I just didn't want to do it." And she like freaked out and told my parents. My parents thought I had like insomnia because I was up so late. And I was like, "No, I just set an alarm to do my homework." And they like got super worried and got super angry when I was like when I basically told them outright, like, I don't do my homework until I feel like doing it, which is like 2 o'clock in the morning.
When the high school?
No. This is like 5th through 8th grade. I didn't want to do it.
I just didn't even do my homework 5th through 8th grade.
I wish I could get away with that.
Because like there was zero repercussions besides like bad grades. But I would just get A's on my tests, and then it would like equal out to something, B's maybe. But in high school, I had such a long bus ride. I had to like commute over 2 school buses. I'd get picked up by a high school bus and then driven by another bus to our school, which was an all guys school. And oh yeah, so it was like a 40-minute ride, and I would just be posted up like with a folder against the next seat on the bus, like frantically doing homework. And the other kids would try to like mess with me and try to get me not to finish it. Like they'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I'd be very stressed, and I'd yell at them. I'd yell at them something fierce. But yeah, other kids would be like sleeping, and I'm just like sweating bullets.
Yeah.
And then I graduated to doing it in homeroom.
Yeah. I wish I had that opportunity. Oh, actually, I don't.
No, I had to wake up so early.
I liked my... No, I mean, I actually had to be to school a lot earlier than everyone else because I was in band.
Nobody made you join band.
Nobody did, but I loved doing it. It's just I had to be there super early every morning. It was a commitment.
What time did you get there?
7:30 every day.
I got there at like 7:45.
Well, whatever.
I had to catch the bus at like 6.
Still earlier than you. I had to get up at like 6 every morning just to...
I had to catch the bus.
I was up at 6. I'm not comparing your apples to my apples to see which one's more sour.
Sorry, I'm so competitive.
Competitive sleeper.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing right now. No.
Trying to prove that my experience was worse. To you and everyone.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, well, it was.
But anyway, enough about our miserable high school careers.
But yeah, I haven't slept since like long time. No
First
sleep,
time,
no
long
long
time.
time. And
No sleep, no long time.
I have some weird thoughts when I like them. I like their good thoughts. And I was taking a poo, taking an old number 2, and there were all these like magazines and stuff. Because my landlady like subscribed to like Women's Health and Cosmopolitan, and they're like just in the bathrooms. And like so I was thinking one day, I'm like, I'm always staring at gorgeous women when I'm taking a dump. And we're like, oh, this is even more than when I went to an all guys school and would take bathroom breaks.
But
Yeah.
Look at him. Yep. Okay. I'll give you that one.
I didn't actually do that.
Didn't? Oh, you didn't?
Maybe,
though?
maybe once.
Okay. I think we were all there. We went to an all guys school. It had to happen at one point or another.
That's actually a good question. I don't think so though.
No.
I don't think. Have you? Did you?
Maybe. I don't.
Could you? Would you?
I don't remember that point in my life.
What kind of phone did you have in high school?
I started off with a really bad Samsung. It was like a flip phone. It's called the Alias, where it had like buttons, like it looked like a full keyboard. But
It had buttons.
It had buttons aplenty, But it had one where it flipped upwards, and then if you flipped it downwards, it would flip sideways.
Oh, that one was the best.
It was cool, but it had so many buttons.
That one was called like the
Alias.
Is it called the Alias?
Yeah, I had it. Okay. I had that one, and I had
my brother had that. The black one?
Yeah. Well, there was the Alias and the Alias 2. The Alias 2 had these like really weird ones where it was like it had less buttons, but they were bigger, but like they actually changed. Like they were like digital, like they had like digital like faces, so like they would change every time you flipped it open.
Yeah, his was the one with real buttons.
Yeah, that was mine too. I loved that phone. It was cool. But it was weird, but it was cool. Anyway, but like I like anyway. I'm thinking and talking at the same time. I mumble when I talk about things.
Speak up, Ben.
No, when I was sorry.
Also, don't do that.
We're cutting all this out, right?
Got something. I'm gonna have to cut something out, I guess.
Anyway, no, when I was in high school, I had the Alias phone, and it was the one that flips upwards and sideways. And I was only like when I was like a month away from my upgrade that I found out that you could actually like go on the internet on that one. It was like limited.
Did you have to like pay extra?
Yeah, it was like it was a basic phone, so you had to pay like a stupid amount extra to get anywhere on it.
I remember they always tried to they'd be like, for a month you'll get free internet when you get this phone. This is the LG chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate. The Envy was the biggest one.
I remember a girl made fun of me once for having a chocolate.
Did you have the chocolate?
I loved it.
The chocolate was a good phone. That was one of the first touch. That was one of the first like touch phones, wasn't it?
It had like a swirly thing. It was cool looking, and it like slid up with a keypad. But then you slid it down. It was just it was very shiny and very like dark. And then she was like, "Isn't that a girl phone?" This was like a year after I had it. And I was like,
"I'm offended, man."
And then like,
it came in cool color, it came in unique colors. It was like chocolate, mine was strawberry and vanilla.
Mine was like dark blue.
Oh, was it?
Galaxy blue.
That's cool.
It was cool.
That is cool.
Those are my knuckles. But yeah, and then that phone died by it like getting stuck in my mom's car door and me being like, "Why isn't my door shutting?" It was like in my coat.
Yeah.
I had the Envy too, though. I had the. I had all the ones except for the one that looked like a calculator.
But yeah. That was a good one. No, my phone history is the Alias 2, and I went to the Samsung. I don't remember what it was called. It was like I don't know, some random like phone that had no significance to me. To an iPhone 4. When the iPhone 5 came out, I had the iPhone 4, so it ran like dirt. And then I got the Note 3, and now I love it. But it's getting old.
Yeah, I didn't get a smartphone until out of high school, or maybe like January of senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't doing that, I guess, is the point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
What was the first smartphone you had?
iPhone 4.
Oh, nice. Same.
It was my dad's. He gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's a kind man. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Mr. Austin's dad.
For a second, I was like, do you not know my last name? I was like, oh, I know what he's doing. He's not...
I see what you're doing there.
All right. Okay, so we talked about what we do on the show, right?
Nope.
Yeah, we did. You did it.
Oh yeah. I was like,
we're not a while ago.
Like, we're not a show.
We're a show.
We're a show. We're not a podcast.
We're not.
Shut up. Don't think about it that way.
But yeah, the story that we have today. Well, Ben and I had a lot of circumstances this month. I was sick for a while, and then Ben had some incidents. He might have a dedication he might want to shout out for the show.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. You
gonna do that now, or let's do it. Let's do a memorial.
Okay.
In memoriam.
This one is in memoriam for my my good friend who just passed and my family member. It was a pet, so but even still, the feeling is still there. My dog Desi passed
Shout
away.
out to Desi, my boy D Dollars. He will be missed.
Up there playing in heaven.
Yeah, he is.
So
rubbing his belly on the ground. Cutie. Basset hound.
He was a basset hound. He was 13 years old, so he lived to a ripe age. We're sorry to see him go, but his sister Lucy misses him very much, and everyone in the family is feeling the loss. But we love you, and we'll see you again someday.
That was beautiful, Ben.
Thank you.
By the way, that's Ben. I'm Austin. That's what we didn't do. But yeah, so this one is devoted to Desi, and for that reason, it's going to be a more serious episode, I think. So far, we have been a little more somber, so that'll probably continue. And this story I picked, I didn't even pick one from the book. It's actually, The King of the Winter Wilds, the classic retelling of Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah,
that one.
Absolutely.
I just found one on the internet. So I'm going to read that. And then, you know what happens in it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
It's basically Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, but a bit more of an adult take on it.
Barely even. Sorry, everyone. But do you want to dive into it?
Sure. Let's go at it.
Let me grab my notes. And I'm going to read y'all story.
We're gonna wet our whistles right now and read you a little story.
Okay. Also, there's no dialogue in this one, so you'll have to hear me try to do
Other people's voices.
voices. That's scary sometimes for me. Okay. The King of the Winter Wilds. Beneath the shade of an overhanging tree, a child is set forth into this world. A child far from the mundanity of normal reproduction. The skin is stark white and often crumbles away as the body moves, only to be replaced from a seemingly endless supply lying just beneath the surface. The eyes are not more than two crystalline orbs set into a soft snowy skull. When it is born, whether it be masculine or feminine, it is nothing short of breathtaking, and its conception matches its existence. For this child is not carried by any human mother. The beautiful creature is born instead from the earth and the forces of winter themselves. Every once in 1,000 winter cycles, a child like this is gathered up from fresh powdery snow, swirled up by a frigid gust and bound together with the earth's particles. Forces of nature permit this being into existence. Thus it becomes this creature's sole duty to watch that which allows its creation. On the particular winter in question, all of the elements manage to find their way together. As soon as the last wind of the solstice blew in to fill the lungs of the King of the Winter Wilds, his eyes snapped open. The first breath of air gave him life and hollowed out the places that would be his lungs. Those that followed, though, felt to him like a blazing inferno. He coughed and he screamed and he cried until the coating of solstice snow within his lungs melted into water and refroze into the cracked ice barrier that would prove essential in the very survival of this creature. This pain left his body useless, and he simply sunk down to the snow surrounding him, allowing his infantile body to retreat to a simple lump of snow, falling and rising painfully with each breath. It wasn't long until the small fluffy bodies of other winter spirits began to surround the king. Before the morning sun could shine its harsh rays, these creatures had lowered him down into their home deep beneath the winter lime tree. There he remained to be nursed and coddled until his body would have enough tolerance to not only withstand the full winter nights, but also the days. Many years later, a poor soul by the name of Emma found herself being led through a rather frigid evening in the woods near the home she shared with her parents. She had been accompanied by her father, a merchant, in his daily transports when suddenly she found herself woefully lost. It was when she finally looked up from admiring her fresh, stained blue leather boots. Her father had just finished making them, and she adored them so, that the poor girl realized it had been hours since she had heard the comforting crunch of her father's own boots, treading through the snow in front of her. Suddenly panicked, she began to dart deeper and deeper into the wood. What was at first a surrounding of sunlight streaming through the feeble tree branches turned dead as night, with trees as thick as elephant legs. When she finally stopped to catch her breath, as the flow of oxygen shifted from in to outside of her small shivering body, she could see every inch of these gases' movements as the frozen water particles danced an improvised ballet through the air. It was so frightfully cold. The poor girl was afraid to open her mouth for the fear of her saliva freezing and locking an agape jaw into place. So she carried on in this manner, mouth shut tight, as a blizzard began to slowly escalate around her. Before Emma knew it, and without feeling that she had even moved from her restful stance, she was even more lost than she had been before, and by the time the snowfall had subsided, she was standing in a clearing with only the thickest tree that she had ever seen for company. The girl in the blue boots fell to her knees, frustrated at her current state of affairs, and pounded violently at the snow beneath her, with aptly blue fists lovingly mittened by her mother. In not much time, this lost soul's anger had turned to despair, and she allowed 3 tears to escape her eyes. But they were almost immediately frozen and sunk deep beneath the fresh layer of powder that surrounded her. Unfortunately, 3 tears were all that she was able to get out, for as soon as she had, she heard a growling rising up from the woods behind her. Whipping around, she saw a wolf, with foam dripping from its mouth and a blank look in its eyes. As the beast began to advance on her, a rustling was heard from the large tree in the clearing, and something began to stir in the snowbank that piled high on the tree's north face. The snow then stood up and became a man armored in bark. His flesh was encrusted with red berries, pierced through here and there with tangled vines. When he rose from his rest, he said nothing. He simply walked in between Emma and the mad dog. Stooping down, he placed one of his frozen hands on the wolf's brow, comforting the confused creature. Slowly, snow snaked from the figure's body and ventured its way into the creature's nostrils and filled its lungs. The poor wolf gave not a whimper as it exited this world. Once the chore had been completed, the wintry man lifted the lifeless animal up to cradle it in his arms and walked off into the darkness of the woods. The young girl was left there, stunned at what she had seen and unsure of what else to do. She followed her savior into the dark. She didn't have to walk very far before she found him, standing before a deep hole dug into the snow, stroking the matted fur of the wolf, which he still held tightly in his arms. He then kissed the departed creature's brow and delicately placed it into the freshly dug hole. The king, with flakes fluttering from his glimmering eyes, turned towards Emma then. He took her by one of her mittened hands and gently led her back to the clearing while the grave filled itself behind them. The winter spirit walked slowly, being sure not to leave his new companion behind. Once the trees began to thin drastically, he let go of the young one's hand, before continuing to walk toward the north face of the tree, stopping just short of where he emerged. It was then, while timidly approaching the side of the spirit, that Emma was able to get her first real look at the grand tree, which seemed to hold the rest of the frozen forest in orbit. Gazing up, she saw the moon, in its fullness, succeeding to slip through the thick yet leafless branches of this great flora, only to glance off of its fruits. The moonbeams set the tree's product alight as they hung glittering across the branches like glass bulbs. As great as this ancient being was, the trunk, while quite thick, was short enough for the spirit to stand on a drift and reach up past where the trunk ended to pluck one of these beautiful pale green fruits off of a low-hanging branch. The sheer scale of the winter lime tree was enough to take sweet young Emma off of her feet. She marveled at how she could lay flat out looking at the sky, and no matter how far she let her head tilt back, she still couldn't see a point where the branches gave way to clear skies. Unaffected by this state of amazement, and with fruit in hand, the king of the winter wilds simply stared his shiny eyes into the distance. But no flakes drifted from them now. Before long he was sitting, unmoving, slumped against the tree once again, allowing the falling snow to cover him. It was then that the lost girl looked up and realized that she had been once again abandoned. Feeling no better off than before, she sat there, fighting off the numbness of the cold. As the sky began to lighten, her mood worsened. Thinking about how much time she'd spent being lost only convinced her further that she would never find her way home. With only that rattling around in the youth's head, she continued to lie there, tracing the intersecting pathways that the branches formed against the approaching sunlight. As if on cue, fluffy white body after fluffy white body came bouncing out of the tree and down the branches, one for each bough. They made short work of covering the winter lime tree in a pleasant morning frost. As each little spirit completed their task, as they peered down at her, another fluffy body joined the congregation every second until they resembled some sort of odd nest. They made concerned coos and they jostled one another, each one wishing to do something for the girl in the blue boots. But these spirits were timid, and none of them wanted to make the first move. Below, Emma stared up at them, feeling, perhaps, more wary than the fluffy creatures above. Came slowly into a sitting position, wrapped her mittened hands around her knees, and waited to see what would happen next. The sun had long risen before any of the fluffy figures made a movement, and when one did, it was likely due to one of them being shoved a bit too hard, causing the others to follow the supposed leadership of the shoved one. But it is of little consequence. Once the creatures had dispersed, they reconvened almost immediately all around the lost child. She shivered both in fear and cold until a winter lime rolled toward her from the fluffy pack. Opening up a hand, she scooped up the fruit and allowed her body to fall back into the fluffy snow as the spirits dispersed. Along with the spirits went the blistering wind and the powdery snow. Next went the tree and the very earth which Emma laid upon. It all drifted away until there was nothing, and just as quickly, everything came flooding back. First the thoughts, then the feelings of warm fur and a roaring fire. Next the sound of wood crackling and the smell of soup simmering, and then Emma opened her eyes to greet the warm glow of the room.
That was beautiful.
Thanks, Ben.
Really though, that was a great story.
That's basically Frosty the Snowman, all right?
Well, I don't think so. Not the way I saw it as a cartoon. That's the only interpretation I have of Frosty the Snowman, and that's about like
Oh, I thought you were gonna say.
that's about some creepy old man trying to get back a magic hat from a living snowman.
I thought you're. That's what. Did you hear a different story? Did you hear a different story?
Than what you were reading? Yeah.
I wrote it. That was like an old guy. He was like trying to get the hat from the snowman. They're all the town's kids. They were chasing Frosty around, trying to get the hat.
Was that what you just read?
Yeah.
Wow, I must have been drifting off because I heard something completely different.
What? What'd you hear?
I heard a amazing story about a snow warrior who was brought to life by just the miracle of nature and nursed and raised by gnomes to know the meaning of what it is to be a compassionate part of nature and a protector of the innocent and the children and you know, even in his ways of defying life itself by bringing death to a hungry wolf, he even finds a way to make it more, you know, compassionate by like settling the thing down before it takes its life away, and then even finding a proper place to bury it.
Yeah, I read no. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Maybe I was just.
Let's drop it.
Yeah.
Sorry, you had a long week.
That's an understatement.
That's an understatement. That was nice, Ben. That was nice. Okay, so a few things, because last week we didn't plug any of our own stuff at all.
Nope.
We have we're on all the social media. We're even on Elo now, which was that one site that we mentioned. It's invite only. Google Plus.
If you're on Elo, stop by and say hello.
Hey, don't add us on Google Plus.
No.
We have one, but I don't look at it.
Nobody does.
I built
If you're on Google Plus, it's because you wanted the extra service on your phone, and that was it.
Our Google Plus says look at the other social medias. That's actually all it says.
Yeah, we don't even post on there.
Not like I made one post and it says go to our other.
It's a link to our website.
Oh, is it?
I think so. Yeah, that's what I saw when I was on there once.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're on iTunes, we're on SoundCloud, we're on YouTube. We are on everywhere you can find podcasts, and we come out once a month. What? Yeah.
On the last day of every month.
Yes, first day of every month, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm the one who uploads the podcasts.
Oh, okay.
If you can't know, I'm just telling the audience.
I'm wrong.
Yeah, so we're out on the first of every month, so look for that.
Or if you're in California, the last of every month, maybe, if that's how time works. Wink.
I don't know. I'm not going to try and think about it.
Time lapse.
First of every month, maybe nearish midnight, East Coast time, Buffalo time.
Yeah.
Those are our things. Wacko Fest does our intro outro music. Thank
they're
you very
phenomenal.
much to them.
Yes.
They're recording new music right now, so
Go check them
You
out.
might want to go. Maybe by the time you listen to this, they'll have it up at www.wackofest.com. If you live in the area, they're always doing shows at the Forum. If you don't know what that is,
It's a great little club.
buzz off. What else, Ben?
Special shout out to somebody, the few people we've been avoiding this entire time because we are terrified of them recognizing that we still exist after they're moving on from us. I have to. Thank you to our birth. Thank you to our
Ben!
birth.
Stop.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. Our birth givers. We know you're out there somewhere. We know you think we're dead. But we love you. We care about you. And we're coming for you.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
So that's why that was so Valentine-y.
Mm-hmm.
Ben and I are just really in the romantic mood with one another, especially. After this, we're gonna probably go to a movie.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to go see, Ben?
Yeah. I don't.
I've seen that though.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It got really good ratings.
Anything else
on IMDb?
I saw that one too, though.
Did you?
Yeah. It kind of sucked.
Did it?
Yeah. There was a lot of people like. There's a lot of rug humor.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
What about what about that?
Which one?
I think it's how it's pronounced. It's a foreign film.
Yes. What from where?
I don't. It was made by the same guy who directed Grand Budapest Hotel.
Did they do it in the Under the Bridge festival the other weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, like the one on the overpass.
Yeah. Hobo Joe was the
Not
the curator.
not an actual homeless person.
No.
It's just his nickname.
Yeah, his name's Hobo Joe.
He has a home. He calls it. It's a tent.
Yeah.
He's fine. Okay, so what they did it there?
Yeah.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah.
So I must have. How long was it?
It was the one that was like basically 8 hours straight of George O'Keeffe paintings.
Oh.
I didn't see it because
That's what that was.
Yeah.
I thought I wandered into a museum.
No, see what they wanted you to do is
Like
take
literally, I thought I wandered into a museum and
Yeah.
was staring at Georgia O'Keeffe. It was just the same two Georgia O'Keeffe paintings on a wall.
But apparently, so what they wanted you to do is they gave you that syringe at the very beginning of it,
Yeah.
right? You were actually supposed to take that and drop the droplets onto your tongue.
Nobody said anything to me.
Well, they weren't supposed to.
They just handed it to me.
Yeah, because like everyone was wearing their paper bags over their heads.
Yeah, or like half of them were wearing like weird googly eye, like the springs.
Yeah, and the
The other half was wearing the paper bags.
yeah, and those what are they called, the gossamer things with like they were like glasses with the big pink nose and the mustache.
like the just disguise glasses.
Yeah, the typical disguise glasses, and
I don't know if those have a name.
They said basically all they said was you walk up and they're in this like giant refrigerator box that's cut out to look like a ticket booth, and you say 2 tickets please, and they say see something, say someone, and they basically just give you a packet of things in a used shopping bag.
A packet of things.
A packet of things. It's the syringe.
I didn't get that. I got just the syringe. I walked in. I walked. Well, it's not really in anything.
Yeah.
I walked up to it. I stuck out my hands. No, I'm sorry. They said stick out your hands.
Yeah.
And I did, and they dropped a syringe from like 3 feet in the air, and they're like, "Don't move your hands." And like one of them was holding a knife,
I think you might have gotten a special ticket there.
kind of like
buddy.
this.
Oh.
Like right now, I'm holding my arm very weirdly, and then they were holding the knife in between, like if you were gonna do like the Star Trek thing,
The Spock.
those fingers,
Yeah.
and I was scared, so
I think you got a special ticket.
I didn't move my hands.
I was one of the norms. I was one of the normies. I just
paid-
got a normal experience.
I bought
It was okay.
from a scalper.
Okay, so that's probably why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was scalping people.
Yeah. Probably some kind of anti-piracy method, but that's rare. You got a good deal right there.
Yeah, I didn't get stabbed by this thing.
Yeah.
So that's good. But
But,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
no.
so we won't go to a movie.
No.
Movies, no. Okay, anything you want to say to the folks out there?
I love you all. Happy Valentine's Day. Be safe out there.
Thanks so much for listening. Keep on listening, please.
Please don't go.
Tell your friends. That means the world to me.
And me too.
Ben doesn't care, just me.
Yeah, you're right.
Goodbye.
Bye.